And yeah, we have a lot of topic, Mandy. I'm really excited about this one. How to accelerate your full-time forex trading success journey. I cannot stand, and I see this like at every single webinar I go to. Although I listen to less webinar these days, but whenever I go to a webinar and I try to listen, they're always complicated. Like they always like a series of mathematical equation that you cannot really apply to anything in life. So we want to make this very, very clear and very, very simple tonight for you guys. And that's what we'll try to do. We'll try to simplify as much as we can and make sure that everything is concrete. You can apply it and you can use it to your own trading. I guess this is what most webinars look like in the end, and you feel really confused. So
Yes, especially when it's someone like me who is not very mathematically, or who is mathematically very challenged, and I see that as well. So often that you know, the seminar presenters, they just talk at you, and that's not what we want. We don't want it to be Etienne and Mandy TV. The more you guys interact, the easier it will be for us to deliver value for you guys. So
exactly. So by the end of this event, you will have a framework on how you can shortcut your path to full-time forex trading, which is something everyone wants to do. Like we always want to go the faster way, but the faster way requires some action, some things that we do properly, and that's usually how we get ahead faster and how we get ahead of other people doing random stuff. So if you have a plan of action and things to do, that's how you really get ahead. And that's exactly what we'll try to share tonight as much as possible. And as always, if you have any question on the topic, comment in the chat, and we definitely want to welcome you and help you guys at the same time.
I remember when I started out at Tien, I was so impatient. Like I couldn't wait to quit my job, and I couldn't wait to become successful in trading. And to be honest, I actually quit my job far too early. I quit my job very early in my trading journey, and I wasn't as yet the trader that I had to be in order to succeed. And also, I wasn't experienced enough in the markets. And remember, when I started, that was at the time when there was no internet, no Twitter, no online videos. I actually had to teach myself learning in books or going to seminars. Were very, very different. And in hindsight, really, I wish I hadn't quit my job that early, because it set me back on my journey. It didn't make it faster, it set me back. And I justified it to myself that if I have more time to work on trading, then I would succeed faster. But no, it really backfired. So everyone has the goal and the dream to achieve their full-time trading life easier and better and faster, but they usually get lost in a jungle. That's certainly my experience that I went through. So, and based on our experience, Etienne with his hundreds of years of experience by speaking to so many different traders and being in the markets and being a traveling full-time trader himself, and me going through my journey of becoming successful. And it was a tough one and a long one until I made it to trade full time. We want to share with you how not to get stuck in the jungle, how not to get stuck in the maze, and actually get to achieving your dreams faster, at least getting helping you to be in the right direction and have a like a map, like a Google map on how to get there.
Perfect. So as always, if you guys want to make the most out of this event, like it's always a good idea to stay focused and have like don't have like 5 different windows or 5 different tabs open. You focus on one thing because that's how you get result. And take notes if you want to. There's going to be plenty of action steps tonight that we'll share with you guys. And yeah, so make sure you make the most of it, and we'll get started with that right away.
Okay, so today what we are going to look at is how you can shortcut your journey, as you already said, to full-time Forex trading, which I've been working with, I don't know, thousands of traders, and I ask every trader what is the goal with trading. And they seem to have two goals. One is to trade full-time as quick as possible, and the other one is to make so much money that they can buy a house for their mom, especially the guys. So, which is really funny, really sweet. But So we will be looking at the 3 secrets, and I put secrets in quotes because we all know that there are no secrets, but I kind of like the word secrets because, again, when I started out, it seemed like a secret to me. It seemed like it's something that everyone else knows, but I didn't know. And I felt like it was this exclusive club of people, of traders who could succeed and live my dream. And it was so far away from me. And so that's why I thought the word secret is actually really suitable, even though, again, as I said, we know there is no secrets. Now, tonight hopefully will help you to lead you to the trader you deserve to be, the trader you want to be and desire to be. And if you're here tonight, I can tell you confidently you're in the right place. And again, the reason why we decided to hold this training is that a lot of traders contact us for help with their trading, and almost everyone can't wait to fulfill their dream and quit their jobs and ultimately do what they love and what they're passionate about, what they're excited about, and what really, makes their life livable, which is trading. But they don't know how to get there, and they have blockages, and they feel stuck, and again, they're stuck in a jungle, in a maze. So often it turns out that they work really, really hard on trying to achieve their trading goals. But what is missing is the basic structures in place so that they can succeed. It's kind of like, with the Olympics going on, and here we have the Commonwealth Games in Australia. What we see, those guys performing, flying through the air, through the tunnels when they do their snowboarding and skiing events, that is the end result. But we don't see the framework, the basic work that they put in every single day in order to do the crazy stuff. And I see that in trading as well, where traders, they want to do the crazy stuff, right? Like, I've been scalping like a world champion, and so many traders say to me they want to scalp like I do. And it's like, my scalping is the result of a lot of basic work that I put in, so that I can be in tune with the market, that I can manage myself and my emotions, right? So it's the same with trading. Most traders have really good intentions, but no plan. And so they get stuck. If you don't implement a solid structure, it will negatively impact your trading mindset, and you will keep blowing up account after account. And trading will stay a source of pain rather than becoming a source of wealth. I can promise you that. And the thing is, don't get upset about it. Simply get curious on how to change. And so this is what we're going to do tonight. We're going to show you the framework of what it takes. Of course, we only have an hour, so we can't show you these things in, what took us years in 1 hour, but at least we can give you the framework and show you this is the direction you have to go. And what we are going to be doing, we are going to be diving in what actually has never been done before. And the reason why I say that is it hasn't been shared before because up until now we have kept it for our private clients and our inner circle. So Etienne with his inner circle and me with my private clients. And what we've also done is Etienne and I, we put our heads together, his experience. And again, we always say Etienne is so different in terms of his personality compared to me that we are such a great team because we can accommodate for many, many different behavioral profiles of different traders. So we put our heads together and we created this program out of our various experiences. And the other reason why we decided to share this program is because our clients, they always say how it absolutely transforms their trading experience. That at the beginning, when we spoke about having a trading business plan, they felt like wanting to yawn and didn't want to do it. They wanted to do the exciting, the sexy stuff. But once they implemented the foundations, that the exciting stuff became so much more fun because there was a consistency, there was confidence with it, there was, it was enjoyable, they were in the rhythm with the market. And this is ultimately where you want to be if you're a full-time trader. And also what we found is that suddenly, with doing all the work, implementing all the basic structure, traders had so much more clarity on what their weaknesses are, clarity on what their strengths are, clarity on what they had to do in order to succeed. And so with your permission, we will dive into this remarkable topic. And at the end, as you promised, you can ask us specific questions. We will do our best to help you solve your challenges. But what we also want to ask you, if it is cool with you guys, if at the end of the session we also show you how you can learn more and go deeper into this topic with us. But we will do that at the end. So for now, we just focus on um, teaching you the 3 secrets to accelerate your trading success. Now let's introduce ourselves. Let's start with Etienne.
Quickly. So most of you guys are pretty familiar with who I am and what I do. I'm basically a traveling Forex trader. I've been traveling and trading Forex for about 1 year now, trading since 2013. And I also host the Desire Trade podcast, in which I interview traders on a weekly basis. I got my first $50,000 trade in 2016. And although I like to talk about strategies and setup, I specialize a lot more in methodology and psychology. Those are topics I like to talk about: how to organize yourself, how to set up your business, and how to make sure that you trade and you end up with a profitable business as well. So that's quickly in a very couple of seconds who I am and what I do. And let's go on with Mandy.
You can also see Etienne's quite a famous boy here. So, yeah. Now, just quickly about me. That photo is 10 years old, by the way. So, um, I trade mostly the DAX. I do trade Forex as well. I perform better in the DAX than in Forex, and this is just my personality, behavioral profile. Doesn't mean anything. So the DAX I'm scalping, and Forex I'm swing trading. And I'm trained in coaching, in neurolinguistic programming, and all kinds of dimensions. I studied Buddhism extensively, everything that is performance related, mindfulness, meditation. I have studied because it's just fascinating to me. I'm a trained and certified coach, and also trained in speaking. I know a lot of traders, they pride themselves in being a trader and not a trained coach, but I think it doesn't take much to train yourself to be able to deliver really good quality, and that's what we are out here to do. So I also have been featured in all kinds of magazines and all the major newspapers here in Australia. But yeah, enough about me. So now, quick disclaimer, that's really, really important. I will read it out because by law we have to read it out. So please bear with us. This presentation is for educational purposes only and should not be solely relied upon as a recommendation or invitation to enter into a particular transaction or to apply a particular trading strategy. It is also not intended to be a substitute for professional counseling, therapy, or medical treatment, nor is it intended to diagnose or treat any psychological condition. I just want to point out I'm not a psychologist, I'm a coach. It's very, very different. You should not engage in trading unless you understand the nature of the relevant markets, the rules, application of these rules to the strategies you're trading, the products, and the full extent of your exposure to risk of financial loss. The information contained in this presentation has been prepared without taking into account the objectives, financial situations, or needs of any particular client, trader, or attendee here. And because of that, you should, before acting on any information, consider the appropriateness of the information, having regard to your own personal objectives, financial situation, and needs, and you must seek professional advice. By attending this presentation, you do so at your own will, and in doing so, waive liability to any claims against the host, presenter, and any associated organizations and people. So, if you're still with us, wonderful. If you disagree with our disclaimer, now is a good time to part ways.
Yeah. Now, before getting too much into the training, we want to make sure we understand whom this training is not for. So, if you expect that you'll be given a winning trading strategy and that you will be profitable forever, this is not for you, because this is not what trading is about. If you have no interest in trading Forex, again, like, we try to teach how to trade Forex and we try to teach how to set up a business. But a business with no interest is always a bad business. And lastly, if you believe that trading is a quick and fast way to make millions, it's not going to be the right place for you. So once again, we want to make sure we have people who are committed and understand what this is about and are willing to put in the work that needs to be done for success. So let's get back to you.
Okay, so Um, Basically, when I started, that's the reason why we say the quick rich thing, because I have to admit, when I started trading, when I discovered trading, I thought I had discovered the holy grail and I'm going to be a millionaire, within 6 months. And this is kind of also because of the marketing of the company where I did my first training with. And we want to make sure that this is not what we are about. We are about building a solid foundation and a solid progress so that you can set yourself up for sustainability and running a trading business for the rest of your life. And my mom, she just retired, and it's kind of heartbreaking when they just retire you because you've reached a certain age and she doesn't know what to do with herself. And it's really scary for me. I'm so glad that I do what I do because no one can retire me. Only I can retire myself if I choose to. And I know that the older I get and the more experience I get, the more valuable I get for society and not the other way around. So, guys, take that into consideration. If you're still young, then think about what will happen in 50 years, and that will make sure that that gives you your beingness of what you do every day, and who you want to become as a trader, as a human being as well. So when I started out, I basically had to save myself from myself, from my ideas that were totally unrealistic, and hence so were my results. And my survival mechanism and trying to figure out what was not working for you and why I wasn't succeeding helped me to become who I am today. And this is kind of what we want to share with you. So we have structured in 3 steps, and please be aware it was not 3 steps, it was like 3 million steps, but just to make it easy for you and to structure it for you. Yeah. So um, think about it. Trading is essentially like running any other business, right? But how many traders have ever run a business? And I know I did not when I got into trading. I was actually coming from a corporate background. I was working for Siemens here in Australia, the German company, and I didn't realize what it takes to succeed in trading. I thought I just learned the skill and that's it. And I didn't realize that there's so much more to it than charts, bars, and moving averages. So if you, for example, struggle with consistency in your trading, then ask yourself, what is this an example of? Are you struggling with consistency only in trading or in other areas of your life as well? um, what elements do you need to learn? Like I needed to learn about taxation, for example, in trading. I needed to learn to manage myself, because when you come from a corporate environment and you have people telling you what to do and what not to do all day, it's very different than when you sit at home suddenly on your own and you have to be self-directed, you have to be self-motivated, and you have to do what hurts, what's uncomfortable, what's unfamiliar. You have to grow, and there's no one cheering you on. There's no one pushing you forward when you can't be stuffed, or when you feel confronted or scared. Yeah. So this is why the journey into trading is so much about self-mastery. And that's why we say succeeding in trading is simple, but it's not easy. So here, secret number one. A secret. Etienne,
Yeah.
you go for it.
So secret number one, and we talk about here environment, trading environment. You will notice that over time, being in the right environment propels you to success, and being in the wrong environment just help you go downhill, and it's never a good thing. So we want to make sure that your environment and things that surround you are propelling you to success and helping you moving forward and doing the best you can on a daily basis. Now, when we think about environment, we need to think about kind of a business overall. So let's go to kind of any retail shop that you would think about, and the same environment that they have, the same things they have in the retail shop, same things they do, should be applied to trading. So we can go on and on this, but things like your warehouse and your supplier, those are like in trading, it's gonna be your brokers. It's gonna be different name and different things, but you have to think about exactly what you can do and exactly what you can take from a retail shop to apply to your trading.
And what I also love is Etienne calls his indicators his what do you call them, Etienne?
Yeah.
You call
So
them
your trading
your
strategies are going to be your employees, and you can hire them, you can fire them, you can do whatever you want with them to make them perform better. And if they don't perform well, then you might as well fire them and not use them in the future.
and this is really interesting because I think it was Anthony Crudele who said today on Twitter something about, the markets are really, really tough and you need to make sure to remember to stick with your trading strategy and don't be a hero. And then I responded to Anthony saying, to be honest, what I see in the markets from traders, from all the direct messages I get and the emails I get, and, Etienne as well, we had a chat about it. Most traders, they don't have a strategy as yet that works for them. Most traders have a strategy that worked maybe for a certain period of time, but then it stopped working as soon as the market changed. Or they never found a strategy and they're still trying to figure out how to learn or how to put their strategy together. So again, Etienne and I, we are so very different. The way the way I created my strategy is that I studied everything under the sun. So I started with chart patterns because I did an options trading course to begin with. And when I started, there was no CFDs, there was no MT4. That was just, still picking up your phone and calling the broker and putting through your orders. And you couldn't trade on margin. You had to put in the full amount, right? So I studied chart patterns. Then I studied candlesticks. Then I studied Gann trading. I studied harmonics. I studied Ichimoku. I studied Elliott wave. I studied everything. And I thought every time, oh, this is the thing that I'm going to make work. And it still didn't work. And then I realized that for my personality, was not suited to any of those systems. But what I realized also was that each of those systems had some element that really worked well for me. So, for example, if you look at harmonics, right, and Elliott wave, I love Fibonacci. Fibonacci works really well for me. So I picked Fibonacci. For chart patterns, the only chart patterns that I can read really well is double tops and double bottoms. So I trade them. I'm really good at candlesticks, reversal patterns. I'm not so good at continuation patterns. So by spending years of figuring out, studying systems and figuring out what works and what doesn't work, I then created my own system and have what I have today. And also, I've been trading for over 15 years now, so I have been through a few market cycles and I can recognize now the behavior as well. So having been through a 2007, 2008 market and then consequently 2009, that was amazing. I learned so much, and I can see that the market at the moment behaves very similar to 2007. So I'm not saying that the market's going to come down that much. Yeah, I'm just saying that I've seen a few reversals in the market and it behaves very, very similar. So let's see. It adds to my probabilities. So then what I did is I found out about behavioral profiling, psychometric testing, and using then understanding who I am and understanding my behavioral patterns, I then found out that certain ways of trading are just not suited for me. I'm just not suited for long-term trading. I get bored. I can't focus. And, if you look at my statistics, it's so funny because every time I try to position myself for a longer-term trade, I stuff it up. My timing is so bad. I get whipsawed out before the market goes into my direction. If you look at my short-term statistics, I perform like a world champion. So my statistics tell me exactly what my psychometric testing, my behavioral profiling tells me. I'm most suited for short-term trading. Now, then when we looked at Etienne is very different again, his personality and behavior profiling. So Etienne, do you want to share how you got your system to work for you?
Yeah, well, I think it's gonna be pretty much the same thing for most people. Most people start with trying everything, and then they kind of narrow down to what they do best. So I did the same thing. I went to study a lot of things. I went to buy a lot of books. I even hired coach, and from all these people and all these different parts, I was able to pick like one or two things that I liked. So whether it's going to be the Bollinger Band or it's going to be candlestick as well, because I trade candlestick too, or whether it's going to be like the zones, support resistance areas. Those are things I pick from different people, and the way I apply them also from different people, like not from one person. And as soon as you try to copy other people, it's not going to work. Now, when it comes to the trading style, I did the exact same thing. So I started by swing trading. That worked not super well. And then I went to day trading a little bit. That worked fairly okay. And then I went back to swing trading because that's not only what I'm best at, like even more than day trading, but also what allows me to have the lifestyle I want to have. Like I wouldn't want to trade all day. That's for me a big no. So I had to try it out. I had to see that day trading didn't work for me, and then I had to go back to swing trading after. But it's a big mess of trial and error for sure, which you can really shortcut. Like if you do what Mandy tells you about the behavioral profiling and stuff, you can skip ahead really fast. You can know exactly in a click what you're best at and what you would most likely perform best at, and that's I think a big shortcut here.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So you can then drill down into what you're naturally good at rather, and then learn the other elements as you know, let's say you're really good at short-term trading, then you look at, let's say, Elliott wave trading, which is a little bit longer term trading. You can still study that, but you study that as additional information and rather than with a focus on trying to make that work. Now, if we look at your trading strategy, your trading and looking at Etienne's example of the supermarket, your trading strategy is like your products in the shelves, but you need a shelf to hold your strategy so that they can work best. Yeah, that they can perform really well, your employees, and so that's why it's really important that you create a life that has a rhythm, that has structure. And I found it really interesting because even though Etienne is traveling, he's extremely organized. His life still has structure, and I found it amazing. But Etienne is really good at structure naturally. He loves being organized, and I'm not so good at being organized. So working with someone like Etienne is very, very helpful for me. Good. So that's secret number two, how to find your strategy, how to design your strategy in such a way that you can find out what works for you best very easily. Also nowadays, with all the backtesting software, I found it interesting. I was working with a guy who did a simple moving average crossover strategy, and he backtested it for the last 10 years. And he turned on paper $10,000 into, I don't know, $100,000 in something ridiculous, $110,000, something really good. And then when he tried to apply it in real time, it didn't work so well. And what the thing was that in the backtesting strategy, the trade, of course, took the strategy tester took, of course, every single trade. Whereas in reality, this is not possible because we do sleep, and unless you have an EA that trades for you, and even then, I doubt that it can take every trade because you might have financial restrictions which you don't take into considerations when you do it backtester. It didn't work so well, right? So we need to take those frameworks, this environment of our backtesting also into consideration, right? So that's why we say environment is so, so important, where things seem easy in theory, but then in reality, it doesn't work as well. Yeah. So when we look at creating the great environment for your trading and looking at the strategy, I always love working with frameworks, right? So this is a framework that I love working with. So when you have a trading mindset, when you work on your trading mindset, so you work on your belief system, your values have to be congruent with trading. I was working with a trader a few years back, and that was interestingly enough, that was just at the end, no, middle of 2008, when the market started to come back down so hard. And she couldn't go short because she had this ethical dilemma. She said, I can't go short on stocks. It's like, it's bad. So it's like, yeah, but it's bad as well for you because you lose money going long and the market's just selling off like crazy. So she had a value conflict. We needed to work on having her trading strategy in line with her values, so she would stop sabotaging herself. So trading mindset is the standards that you have, the expectations you have of yourself, and you also have of your environment, right? Um, so when others go for a barbecue, you sit at home and do your statistics, for example, and you look at what your weaknesses were, what your strengths were, and what you have to improve on. I'm saying that because I'm working with a prop trader from New York as well, and every Sunday, so it's his Sunday when we are working together, and my Monday, and it's kind of the only time we can meet because of the time difference and his work commitments in the prop firm. They're working pretty hard, but his friends, they're all sitting and watching the NRL or whatever they're watching, the sport. I think it's basketball. And he sits with me on the computer going through his trades when he would really like to be hanging out with his friends, having a beer and watching sports. But no, that's what he sacrifices. And that's the expectation he has of himself and the standard that he does whatever it takes. Yeah, and I love working with him because he is so high performance, this guy. So that's your trading mindset, right? And once you have your trading mindset congruent with who you want to be, with your belief system and everything, then trading becomes much, much easier than always fighting against yourself and having blockages and sabotaging yourself. Then, if you create a framework with your trading strategy, you create an operations manual that you follow, then it will be so much easier for you and better to perform better. You will be more streamlined in your performance if you write down the circumstances of what has to happen for you to perform well. Because I can tell you, once you get married and you have kids and you can't travel the world, and you're not free anymore, and you have like commitments, right? And you're responsible for this little bundle of joy. Your trading is going to change big time. So Etienne, enjoy your freedom. I can tell you that. Um, yep.
Yeah, so we have a great question from someone in the chat. I think this
Hmm.
is Manny. We'll answer at the end, I think, the question, but that's a good one. So if you guys have new questions, just keep them coming, and we'll make sure to answer them a little bit later in the event.
Yep. So did you want me to answer the question now or later? I didn't
No,
get it.
so
Sorry.
we'll wait at the end. Yeah.
Later? Yep. Okay, good. So then the third part that also makes your trading journey better is if you develop your skill through practice. Obviously you have to apply what you planned for. So that's like opening your shop. You need to sell products. You know which product is selling best, which product is not selling so good, and then you look at your statistics. And I say that because I was working with a trader and he owned a supermarket. And I said to him, how do you know which product is the best product? And he says, well, I know from my sales figures. And it was interesting because his best selling product was this fresh bread. And it was on a Sunday morning. I mean, who would have thought, right? But he knew exactly what his best selling product was in the shop and what the numbers were in the shop. He didn't know that in his trading. So it was all about implementing what he knew from his supermarket into his trading. That helps you to perform better. Now, if you want to shortcut your journey, you do it through other people's experience, other traders' experience. It could be other people's money as well, like Etienne, who got sponsored to trade, who got funds, who was given funds to trade with. It's through other people's experience, like you do with us, right? Where you look at what Etienne has learned from his traders, from his journey, what I have learned through my training, my skill set, my experiences. So you can shortcut because you don't need to go through the jungle and the maze like we did. You don't need to do the stupid mistakes that we did. We can just share with you what worked for us and what didn't work for us, and put you on the right path, and off you go. So these are the four components for creating trading excellence the fastest way possible.
Love it. Now, secret number three, and this one is probably the one where I had personally the hardest time ever trying to achieve. Now we want to be able to become solid in how we execute. We want to be able to execute properly. Like we want to be able to have a plan, but when we get to apply that plan in the market, like we feel great and we do things right. We don't like make mistake all the time. We don't like second guess ourselves. We do things that we need to do all the time, and that takes some work. But we'll try to show you guys a kind of a framework on how to use this and how to become solid in your ability to execute. Now, here's the thing that happened. Whenever we start to trade, we feel like super confident. We feel like great. We feel like we'll be able to place trades, make money, and have the freedom lifestyle we want. But turns out that we get to the market at some point, and we kind of feel afraid for some reason. Like either we get afraid by a loss or by something that happened that we didn't plan, or just things don't turn out as we expected. Like we trade for 1 year and we have some loss, or we trade for 6 months, we're hoping to make 1 million and we make like $2. That can happen. And then we get to a point after that where we feel like really discouraged. We feel down because we don't know what happened. We don't know why it happened. And most importantly, we don't know how to correct it. What can we do? Like we have no answers. And the simple answer here is that we were not probably good in our ability to execute, and we didn't understand how to perform at your peak, which is exactly what Mandy will talk about right now.
Yes, so I definitely have been through this journey, and I went a lot through excuse warning, language warning. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? I said that so often, Etienne, and I was so discouraged, like this sheep. Funny enough, my Chinese astrology is actually the goat, so I was the sheep definitely, and um, and it took me such a long time to figure out that there was nothing wrong with me, that I simply had not had a good trainer, not had a good mentor, and that all I did was I studied strategy. I was always looking for a strategy. I thought that's the thing that I need to do, not understanding that there's so much more than strategy that I had to learn. So the keys to trading success are mastering your skill and then learning how to master yourself, and both together they help you to flawlessly execute your trades. Now, I call it flawlessly because it's not about perfection. There is never ever perfection. Flawless. We also we joke sometimes. We say flawsome, right? Coming from awesome, flawsome, because it's not about having everything 100% great. I make so many mistakes. You don't believe it, but in the big picture, it doesn't matter, right? Because in the big picture, it's okay. And I made a mistake last week where I was short still the market. And again, I positioned myself long-term trading. I mean, why don't I still learn that? And then of course the market bounced back, and then I got worried, and I closed out at a stupid loss that I really didn't need to take. And then of course the next day the market turned around and came back down. But again, that's it's like, when do I learn? And I laugh at myself and I just stick with scalping, which I have been doing all day the last 2 days, which is so much fun. um, and that's okay. And I laugh at myself because I know I have the mastery to recover any loss, and I also have so much self mastery of myself that I can giggle at myself, that I don't take myself too serious when I do stupid things, because I'm human, right? That's what we do. And what I realized also was um, that, and all of that in hindsight, it took me years to figure that out. I figured out what is the 4 steps to peak trader performance, which we all need to look at, because the reality is, guys, 90% of traders do not perform, right? They lose money. That means that 10% of the trading population only performs. So if you want to just even make a $1 profit in your trading, you have to be in the top 10% of the world, trading world. And take a good look in the mirror. Look at yourself, look at your values, look at your beliefs, look at your standards, look at your expectations, look at your commitments. If you can't even keep promises to yourself and to others, how do you want to perform in trading? How do you want to be in the 10% of the world? Now, if you want to be in peak performance, if you want to be the ones who actually create financial freedom through trading, that's the top 1%. Who are you being right now to be in the top 1%? Are you this kind of person? And I can tell you confidently that for many years I was not, and I wasn't aware of it. And so if you want to perform in the top percent, you have to create knowledge. Not only knowledge about yourself, you have to understand the market dynamics. You have to understand macroeconomics in terms, just, basic at least. How are the interest rates correlated to the equity markets? Is the big story right now on Twitter, on FinTwit. And you really see who has the knowledge and who has not the knowledge right now. You have to understand how the bond markets are related, how they impact the FX markets, how the Italian, what's it called, elections are going to impact the euro if Berlusconi wins, right? Do you know about that? Because that is like, when you have those little bits of information and you combine that with technical analysis, unbeatable. Yeah, you need to know how brokers work, because at the beginning I didn't understand about swaps, and I saw Alba, who's a really successful trader, ex Paul Tudor Jones trader, complaining about the retail market ripping traders off because he's running his own fund now. So he's kind of retail, and he's running one on a retail brokerage, and he's astonished how we retail traders are being ripped off, right? How many fees and charges that are just bullshit. But you know what? That's the thing. We have to work with what we've got, and we need to take that into consideration. And many traders don't take that into consideration, how much tax they have to pay. And so when it comes to being able to pay your rent at the end of the week or at the end of the month, you need to make sure that you know what your fees and charges are, because you could be quite short on that. I know that in Canada, Etienne told me they only have 1 to 100 or 1 to 200 leverage. Here in Australia, we have 1 to 500 leverage. So I can work with my money so differently than the guys in Canada. There's so many different components. I need to know how to take care of my health. I'm on the computer all the time because, we are running the trainings, I'm trading, I'm writing new programs. I have to keep my professional development up as well, so that I stay a certified coach. So I have to attend trainings just the same, and I need to take care of my health. I need to know how to eat healthy, how to make sure that I move enough. And the older you get, the harder it gets, right? All that is part of successful trading. Do you have a training schedule in terms of you need to do personal development, so mastering yourself? You need to do professional development, learning about the markets. There's always something new to learn about the markets. And you need to do business development in terms of what does it take to run your business? How much tax do you pay? You need to see your accountant. Once you make $10,000 a month, you need to know how to protect your assets in case you make a mistake, in case you have a car accident and then people take all your property away, right? It's so much more. You want to look at how you can contribute to other people once you have reached a certain level of success. You must contribute to others and reach down and lean and give a helping hand for other people to also come up to your level and make this world a better place, right? So once you have all this knowledge, you need to practice the strategies and the skills and the habits. And when you practice the skills and the strategies and those habits, in order to improve, you need to develop a lot of self-awareness and emotional intelligence, because only with self-awareness, how you're performing, if your strategies are working. For example, what one of my strengths is, I get that told over and over when I meet with traders. They always say, you have such high self-awareness, because I know exactly at what point I am at risk to making a stupid mistake. I call it superwoman syndrome or superhero syndrome, to keep it, gender neutral. And so, for example, I know that my average best performing profits in a row is 5 profits in a row. And then when I have more than 5 profits in a row, I start making mistakes. Now I have such high self-awareness that I know when I start losing concentration, or when I start getting superwoman syndrome, or when I have this little voice in my ears saying, oh, maybe you should go for a walk, or you should go out, or call your friend and take your friend out for a coffee. Like, I had such a great day, so I took my friend out for lunch today, and it's so nice to do that. And my mom, she went on a holiday, and I could you know take her on a holiday. So um, that's just so rewarding. It doesn't need to be anything big. It wasn't like a $5,000 holiday. It was a €500 holiday. That's just fine. That's makes such a difference. And so that's also part of living the life of a successful trader. Then you need to know what's growth mindset. So growth mindset is pretty much always being open for learning new things. So even though I trade for 15 years, I never say I know it all. I always look for something new to learn. And there's this guy on Twitter. He put on an option over the XJO when I was short in my CFD, and I got shaken out, as I just shared before. Lost more than I wanted to lose on this trade because the market came back really, really hard. And he was fine. He was sitting it out because it didn't affect him at all. And I understood. So he explained to me how options can actually help me to trade better. And I said, all right, so 2018 will be my thing to dive deep into options, growth mindset. You never know it all. You can learn from every single person. And that is what leads you to peak performance, to be the 1%. Etienne, do you have anything to add, or did I forget anything?
No, that's pretty complete. I love it.
Yeah, cool. All right. So, any questions?
Yeah, you guys comment with your question below, and we'll take some time to answer them. I know there's a bunch of questions already, so we'll cover them right after.
Okay, cool.
But
So I
if you have any
can't.
other questions, just comment below in the chat. I know we have two chat open, but whatever chat you want to use, that's gonna be fun.
Cool. I can't see your chats today, so um,
It's all right. We'll
so
cover them. Yeah.
yeah. So how about, is that okay if I introduce quickly, just 5 minutes, our upcoming project, and then I can turn off the screen and you can see me and I can answer your questions. Is that okay? Yep. I think I just assume that it is okay.
Good. We have Scott, Andrew. Perfect.
Yep. So Etienne and I, we have been thinking about how to help traders to fast track their trading journey, and to make it easier, better, and faster, but also sustainable and for the long term. And how we can impart with you the knowledge and the skill that we now know gets a trader to the dream of full-time trading, where you learn the skills and then you go on the path and you just do your thing. You can repeat it over and over again. So we decided to hold a training for traders that clearly lays out those shortcuts. And think about it. There is certain rules and guidelines on how to make a business successful. And if you struggle with your trading, this is an indication that something in your trading business is insufficient, or maybe your current mindset is not conducive for success either. If you don't implement the structures required for running a successful business, just like you would do for a supermarket, then it will negatively impact your trading business as well, your trading mindset, and you will keep blowing up account after account, and trading will stay a source of pain rather than becoming a source of wealth. I've seen it all over again, and also have been through that myself, so I can confidently say it is not going to work. So your first indication that you need to work on implementing more structure in your trading and put in a foundation, is if you either keep back all your profits, or if you feel you don't have enough confidence, if you feel your system is incomplete. Now, again, we're not going to teach you a system. We are going to teach you how to build your own system, how to create your system. Because what I found really interesting is that traders say, first I learn about getting my system, and then I work on my trading mindset. But what it is, it's like when you want to work on your system, your trading mindset is not conducive and is not congruent with who you want to be and who you are, or who you see yourself with your self worth. Then it's like you have your glasses are fogged up and you can't see. And no matter how many systems you try, you will not be able to make them work because it is you who makes the strategy work. It's not the system who makes your trades works, right? So what we found is once your trading mindset is clear, then the systems they will just come to you. You will find it really easy. And I find that especially when I work with athletes who have been high performance athletes beforehand. A tennis player I worked with who used to be a professional tennis player. Um, Rugby player, footy players, taekwondo fighters, they already have so much work. They have already done so much work on themselves. They don't have like everything is clear, and that's why they can easily adapt this kind of or find strategies that works for them. Yeah. So a lot of traders they ask us whom this program is for, and it's basically for everyone who, if you are frustrated because you keep giving back your profits, if you keep sabotaging your trading results, if you are feeling you're stuck in a rut, especially if you have messed up financially, if your finances are out of whack, it is extremely hard to perform in trading if you have angst around money. I can tell you that. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it is freaking hard. So maybe you're feeling a bit hopeless, not sure what your next step is. That's that's then for you if you are in that kind of mindset. So how the training is organized, it's 6 online self-paced learning modules where Etienne and I we have already recorded them because we decided that you can learn content knowledge in your own time. What the value is applying that skill. So you need to apply what you learn, and then we meet every 2 weeks in the group mentoring session, and you share with us what worked for you and what didn't work for you, where you need help with, and then we help you with implementing that. So it's kind of coaching mentoring. Okay, you get the workbook with it that you need to fill in, and the workbook is also step by step, and it's going to be like your operations manual that you would have for a company. And your workbook is going to be like a lot of pages, like 50 pages, and you will always work on it for the rest of your trading life because markets change, your life change, circumstances change, contexts change, and you have to keep working on it. But as I said before, once you have your structure in place, you can keep doing the same thing over and over again for the rest of your life and just adjusting what you need to adjust. And then we also created an exclusive support group where you can ask questions within the group. And so our vision for you, do you want to talk about the vision, Etienne? I've been talking so much.
Yeah, of course, of course. Sure. So our vision for these guys, one, first of all, help you create a business that support your lifestyle. As you know, like I'm big on lifestyle. For me, having a business is good, running a business is good, working on whatever I love is good. But what's most important, as always, to have is lifestyle. And your lifestyle might be something that like you want to travel, you want to experience different environment, you want to be able to see different countries that you only see in videos. That's whatever lifestyle you want to have, and you decide what that's going to be for you. But we want to help you create this because life is way more than working 9 to 5, coming back home, sleeping, and going back to work. There's much more to it. So if we can only help you guys do this, then it's going to be a big achievement. And then we also want to allow you to create a pathway we can follow without needing to wade through the jungle. So like there's so many information out there in the trading world. You could go on different blogs, different websites, different watch different videos. They're all gonna tell you something different. And then you're gonna be confused with, well, should I do this? Should I not do this? Should I try this or that? And a lot of information is out there. I had some trouble with like reading blogs and trying strategies that really didn't work. And if we can just cut that and help you guys apply what works, that is going to be a major step forward. And I'm really tired of how the blogs that don't get any result. That we want to make this easier for you guys. And lastly, if you want to create a relationship with other traders, like we said this before, and a common problem I see with traders is that they kind of feel lonely. They have this passion for trading, they have this desire to succeed, but they don't really know who to surround themselves with. They don't have like a friend around them to talk about trading. Or if they do, that friend might not be a good trader. And so if you can start to create relationship with other people that are like-minded and that want to have the same goal you have, this is how I saw most results myself. I surrounded myself with more traders and more people who had the same goals. And if you can do this in a community online where you don't have to like travel, go to different place and talk to people on the phone, that's much easier, much faster. So those are like 3 bullet point vision that we want to achieve. And we absolutely believe that the whole training we did and the way it's set up and everything with the support group is going to help us achieve that vision and help you guys achieve all these 3 things without any doubt.
And it's really so remarkable, Etienne, because I can see it with you. You travel to different countries, and people are so excited to meet with you and to show you around, and it's amazing. And if you look at the 3 core universal human fears, they're the fear of not being good enough, right? So here we show you how to be good enough. It's the fear of not being loved, and a lot of traders, they believe that until they can perform well in trading, they're not lovable. It's an unconscious thing, and that actually works against them. So we're also going to do a little bit of work on this area. And also it's the fear of not belonging, of being alone, of being ostracized. And here we create a community where you're not alone, where you can belong to, where you don't need to interact if you don't want to, but where you have people who have your back and who cheer you on, because trading is freaking hard, and there's times when it's hard and times when you want to give up. And I call them my checkout chick moments. And I just had a trader, she emailed me yesterday. I love her. She's amazing. And she's like, I'm going to give up. That's it. I'm not going to do it anymore. And so I encouraged her, and I said, I totally get where you're at, and this is just normal. I go through that every 6 weeks. It used to be every 2 weeks, now it's every 6 weeks. And see, we kind of laughed, and she's back on her horse. And so yeah, so that's that makes trading also so valuable. So we also did that on price. We wanted to make sure that it's affordable and accessible for everyone, and so that's why it's only 297. Yeah, so sorry, in German it's the other way around, how you say it. So you always have to check in. It's only $297 for the modules and for the group mentoring as well, and for the questions. And we are really committed to make that work for you to succeed. Yeah. And yeah, Etienne, did I miss anything, or?
No, everything perfect. And the link's going to be in the, I think it's going to be your left hand corner for you guys. It's rstraight.com/success. It's the usual link, and you can grab the offer there.
Okay, cool. So that's enough now of our programs. We really hope to see you there, and we really hope that we can help you guys to live a life that is worth living. Live your dreams just the same. Okay, so questions and answers. I stop my
Sure.
screen share.
We have a couple
I
of
did.
good questions, so that's going to be awesome.
Okay, so let me just find out how I stop my screen share. Screen share.
Perfect.
I stopped
Well
it.
done.
Cool, yeah. Okay. Yay! Thank you. See, I'm technologically challenged, but I've got it, Jen.
Yeah, that's perfect. So we had a
Teamwork.
lot of good question, and first of all, the first one was by Makin Kadan, who asked, "What is the best component, or which component is better in your 4 component framework?"
This is a really great question, and it's kind of like asking what is more important, your head, your arms, your body, or your legs. Every has a different purpose, plays a different role. And so when you have them all, you perform best. If you have only bits and pieces, you can still do well. But it's not necessarily that you can get the best out of your life. A friend of mine, I don't know if you guys know who he is. Is this tennis player. He's a Paralympian, Dylan Orcutt. And a friend of mine, he is just at a conference about bonds trading, funny enough. And Dylan, who is a Paralympian tennis player who does wheelchair tennis playing, is one of the speakers there. Now, he's living an amazing life. He travels the world, plays tennis, even though he's in a wheelchair. But if he weren't in a wheelchair, he would have full use of his body, but it doesn't mean that he can't perform. Yeah, and so it's the same with the four components. What I see most traders do, they focus on the component number 3, the implementation. So they do. They just want to be in the market. They just want to do, but they don't plan. They don't put in work instructions. It's kind of like when you would open up a shop and you just put clothes in, or like tins of vegetables, and then want to sell it. There's so much more to it running a shop than just putting in clothes or tins of food. I hope that answered your
Like that.
question. If not, please let us know.
Yeah, yeah. And we had a question from Scott. Scott was saying, first of all, it's interesting to me that I find it easier to keep commitment to others than myself. And then the
Yeah,
question to that was, what can I do to be better at keeping promises to myself?
that's a wonderful question. So that question belongs in quadrant 1. So now what we can do is we can actually categorize your questions. So the first question was what we call an implementation question. Which one do I do first? And that would have been quadrant 3. And I say all are important. Now, Scott's question is quadrant 1. So it's about your trading mindset. And your trading mindset is really just a reflection, it's a mirror image of your whole life. And I guarantee you, if you keep promises to other people rather than to yourself, when you trade, you will always be concerned about letting other people down. Um, Disappointing other people. So your trading becomes very much about not letting other people down, not disappointing other people, and then you start making really stupid mistakes. Rather than if you were to focus on you have a system, you have to a strategy, or you want to improve on your system, your strategy, and you do what needs to be done in order to perform, in order to make money at the end. Yeah, I see that a lot as well. It's a very normal human behavior. Now, what you can do to start off with, when we look at human behavior, there is the triangle of self-love, we call it, or triangle of self-worth. We have our needs, our boundaries, and our needs, boundaries. The third one escaped me. It will come back to me in a second. So what I also believe, Scott, is that you don't set boundaries with other people. And because you don't set boundaries with other people, other people, they overstep your boundaries. And the same will show in your trading. So when we put a stop loss, we kind of put a boundary in our trading, right? But if we don't put boundaries with other people, or if other people keep crossing our boundaries, then the same will happen in our trading. Now, what are your needs? If you put other people's needs first rather than yours, you don't even know what your needs are. And emotions is the third one. Just came back to me. So, because needs and emotions, they work very closely together. Your emotions show you if your needs are being met or not. So, if you suffer from depression or from anger, then mostly your needs are not being met, and you express that in a certain way. You express to the world, my needs are not being met. I'm drowning here. I'm suffocating here. I'm starving here, by either being angry and angrily setting your boundaries and pushing people away, or by depressing yourself because you don't want to hurt other people. That's where you start. You start in every moment asking yourself, is that what I need right now? So let's say your friend says, hey, Scotty, let's go for a beer tonight. And you just said, I'm going to have a week with no beer. And then you said to your friend, well, sorry, friend, I don't want to go for beer. I'm happy to go for mineral water, but I said it's a week of no beer for whatever reason. And then your friend says, oh, come on, Scotty, don't be such a spoil sport. Come on, just one beer. This guy in that moment doesn't respect your needs, doesn't respect your boundaries, and doesn't respect what makes you feel good or makes you feel happy. And if you then say, all right, then let's go have a beer, you in that moment have given up on your dream, you have given up on yourself. You will not be able to trust yourself because you have betrayed yourself. for the sake of your friend. Now, if your friend would not accept that you need that week without alcohol, then he is not the right friend, or you haven't taught him right. I love Dr. Phil, right? He might be who he is, but he has some really good sayings. And he said one thing that I love. He said, we train people how to treat us. So that works both ways. So you either treat them to mistreat you, you either train them to mistreat you because you don't articulate your needs to them, or you train them to treat you well because you say, hey, this is really important to me. And I would you're important to me as well, but I would really love for you if you would either wait till next week, or if you go for mineral water and you don't entice me to have a beer, because it's freaking hard, not to have a beer. So I know it was a little bit long-winded conversation, but this is what it takes. And this is what is required for you to get on top of your trading. That kind of conversation, that depth. There's so much more to it, but we don't have enough time.
No, powerful answer. I love it, love it. And we had a question from, I think this is Manikadan again. So the question is, to make a strategy, which playground is right, stocks or forex? And I guess it comes down to understanding kind of what you're best at. So is there like a simple way to know which market you would perform best in, or?
For me, it was several things. So I'm really, really big and strong on statistics, on keeping your metrics. I never was. That was part of my downfall. And if you look at what statistics is now in context of our quadrants, it's number 2. It's our framework, our operations manual. It's the planning part, right? And so my statistics showed me where I perform best in. That's number 1. Number 2, my feeling, like I get bored. I hate stocks. I don't want to read company valuations. I don't like tickers. I love the DAX. I love Forex. Why? I love the DAX because I'm German. I can relate to it. Maybe I don't know. I love Forex because I have been living in different countries. I lived in Hong Kong, where Etienne just is, and and I lived here, and I'm born in Germany, and so I know how Forex is so important to my life, because I constantly have to think about different currency valuations. So I have a feeling for it. It comes easy to me. Stocks was freaking hard work. Now, also, options is hard work for me because I don't have a mathematical brain. I'm extremely visual, and I found that chart patterns don't work so well on the stocks that I used to trade. They work extremely well on what I'm trading here, right? My DAX and so on. So indices and Forex. That's what it comes down to. So you look at what makes you feel good, what can you easily learn, what can you easily grasp, and then you apply that. You look at so, for example, if you look at Tony Sycamore, he loves this Elliott waves. Who would have thought that a Goldman Sachs trader uses Elliott wave? So I was really surprised. But hey, he was one of the really good performers in the office. And but Elliott wave works really, really well for him on Forex. Now, I don't think it works so well on the DAX. And I don't know if it works so well on stocks. So you don't only need to look at what market comes naturally to you, you also need to look at what the strategy that you created that is suited for your behavior patterns, so your psychometric testing works well. Yeah. So again, a lot of introspection, journaling the right way, and so on. So not just journaling in terms of dumping how what a loser you are and that you will never make it, but really journaling with intention, asking the best questions you can ask that propel you forward.
Love it. Guys, we'll conclude here for today. It's been a great event, and your questions were good. Although we could go forward with that for a long time. If you guys any last word to conclude this event?
Oh God, there's so much to be said. Good luck with trading, guys. The markets are amazing, and it's the best job in the world. And if you ever feel you can't do it, please don't give up. Find out what it takes and find your way. It took me a long time, but I found my way, and I'm so grateful for it. So yeah, all I
Love
have
it.
to say.
Ciao, guys.
Mm.